All right, we are live today. How are we doing? Hope we're all doing well. Today on the docket, on the agenda, is we're going to be watching linebacker play, stack linebacker play. Um, I believe we're focusing on three guys: Kyahva, Tezino, Reuben Foster, and Dale Warren, guys that were former Maulers, and helped contribute to the best spring league defense there's ever been. Um, so, hey, I see you. What's up, Siebert? Um, Three elite linebackers. That's facts. So it's just film from 2023. It's just recent film. The best defense ever. The best spring league defense ever. You can check the stats. The numbers don't lie. Pass the number test, pass the eye test, all that. So we'll get into the stream and we'll see some great linebacker play. Let me pull this up right here. All right, it's not sorted in any certain order. It's just kind of random, but we'll see a lot of great plays being made by some very good linebackers. So what we kind of teach our guys is in our tight front stuff. I know this is shade down here, but in our tight front stuff, some form or fashion on almost every play, unless we're pressuring, these two guys have either the A gap or the C gap, and I personally like that because it's defined for them. They can play fast because they always know where their gap is. And when we're in shade or a four down front, it's just A gap and B gap. So we'll see probably clips of both tight and shade. But if you have a whole bunch of fronts, if you have a whole bunch of stunts, it potentially can make your guys play a little bit slower just because they have to think for a split second, what's my fit? Whereas if you're running the same stuff and you get good at it, then they know second nature. Okay, I've always got the C gap. I've always got the A gap. If there's a puller or something like that, they're gonna have to react and play football. But that's personally why I like a lot of similar type defenses, to where guys can play fast and know what they're trying to do. So this one happens to be a pass, and we're playing Tampa here. This is the second game of the year. We ended up playing a lot of Tampa because we were able to stop the run, and I'm sure there will be some clips on here of Tampa of us stopping the run. But here you can see right here, Tez is our middle runner. So really by rule, Tez needs to push through three to get to two because they're just running what we call triple seam, three verticals. One, he's going to widen out and kind of bend back, and he needs to really try to get across the field. So how we want to stop this, and it is airy. Tampa is going to be the area's defense that we run, but really Tez is going to try to push through three to get to two, to get to underneath two, and Reuben is going to get depth because typically they're going to throw this ball around 18 to 22 yards, and it's really going to be like 2 yards inside this number. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20. So somewhere in this area is where this bender usually ends up. Can be a little bit shorter depending on down and distance, but it's usually 18 to 20, 18 to 22, maybe 15 to 16, but generally in that area. So what we tell Reuben, our backside poach player, is when you get 3x1, you need to get your depth. And here Reuben does a good job of that. He can see three over there. I'm sorry, it's a little jumpy. He can see three through two, see two through three. Tez really needs to push a little bit more. They end up dumping the ball down, which is what we want them to do in Tampa. And then we get guys flying to the ball. Tez ends up forcing the fumble, and then I believe Nas gets the fumble recovery. But we get Bryce, who in this defense and shade defense and really even in tight defense is an outside linebacker. Oh, my bad. Stop spam with caps. Nah, we need to allow that. I'm going to have to change the Nightbot commands to allow that. It thinks you're spamming. Yeah, Nightbot, be strict. But Bryce playing basically outside linebacker. Nickel is a very similar thing. Playing outside linebacker, playing nickel, you're doing the same job responsibilities. So Bryce stands him up. Tez knocks the ball out, and then we got guys that are hustling to the ball. The ball squirts out, and we're able to recover it right there. That was a big play. I think it wasn't the first turnover of the year. We had a few in the first game. All right, so now this is the week 10. Yeah, I think week 10 version of whatever this is, New Jersey. So here we're in our shine front, which is just shade for us, which is a 4-down front. We called it shine because we wanted to let these outside defensive ends know that they are in a 9 technique, which is basically get as wide as you need to get to rush the passer. This is a 3rd down front for us. Basically, the difference is we want shade to be have our defensive end in the C gap in between the tackle and the tight end. And now what we're saying is, okay, we're probably not going to see run on 3rd and 5. I mean, we could, but we're probably not going to. So we want to get that D end a little bit wider to give him some width to allow him to rush the passer and contain the passer and all that. So this is our shine front. Really, their gaps don't change. They are still A gap, B gap. It really just changes the safety's fit or the nickel's fit. Instead of being outside, he would then fit into that C gap. But it's really not a big difference. But here you can see, so we're playing 56. We're playing quarter, half. Quarters over here, half over here. So this guy, Tez, by rule, he doesn't need to do this. This is not really his man. This is Tarp's responsibility. So when the tight end goes underneath, this guy, when he goes under and this guy goes out, he's going to squeeze this, and really he should come off on this and Tarp should take this one. But he ends up making a play on this either earlier in this game or later in this game. So that's why he's doing this. And Reuben kind of feels it, especially with this guy going out. He's underneath the slant, but he also ends up making a big hit on this tight end. So really, if Tez doesn't take this guy, the quarterback might be able to fit this ball in over here and be a completion. So Tez kind of feels the weakness of the defense and tries to get underneath that 7 cut. And Reuben ends up making a big play, a big hit. But I will say this. Shout out to, this is Braden, I believe, Braden Bowman. 3rd and 5, he caught the ball. And, I mean, for those who know, Reuben can hit pretty damn hard. And Braden was able to, he held on to that. I mean, hats off to him. That was a good catch. So Tez is kind of just playing the route right there. He's trying to get underneath that 7 cut because he thinks that's where the quarterback's going. Like I said, I think he made a play earlier on that. But, I mean, shoot. Hats off to 80 because that's a hell of a grab. Yeah, he can definitely do some hitting. And there's going to be some stuff on this tape. All right, so now, this was the week before, all right? So this is kind of what Tez was doing. This was week 9, that was week 10. So we're getting switch triple seam here, which is just that. And this can be a difficult concept because we're playing 56 again. We're playing quarters again. Depending on the stem of this release from this guy right here, Yeah, switch. I love switch routes. They can be super tough to defend, but depending on the eyes of the nickel and just kind of the football savvy of the nickel, then you can handle him. And Bryce was a really smart nickel. Um, how you really want this to work out is you want the nickel to see this switch release as a wheel, so he'll take that, and then the safety will take this one, and really you want him to run underneath that. Here, Tez pushes through to this one, and we double team this one. So we'll see how this works out. So we end up doubling that one. And really, by rule, this guy would be 3. So Tez would have to run underneath this one. And if this nickel right here, if he doesn't see this as a wheel, then the safety has to have vision to take this one. Because by rule, how we handle this in cover 6, we say this guy's what we call stress, which means he has the vertical of 3. So he would take that one and the safety would take this one. Like if the concept just looked like this, then Tez would take this one and he would take that one. He would reroute about 10 to 12. So Tez is kind of just balling out here right now. Don't ask me why. He just kind of is. And sometimes you need to have that. Eli can see it. He's got vision on what Tez is doing. So he takes over 3 because he sees Bryce take that as a wheel. He's like, okay, I don't need to take the 2. I just need to take 3. So Eli covers this guy. And now Bryce does a pretty good job covering this guy and having a good relation to where now the quarterback is getting pressured from, looks like Terry, TB, can't step into his throw and just kind of throws it up. And we get another pick right there. So those are 2 plays where Tez isn't necessarily playing by rule, but he's making football plays and he's being a good, smart football player because he's understanding the concept of the offense and kind of the weakness of the defense. Here, TB gets a great rush. Another good thing with odd front defense is these are the 4 down linemen. This guy right here, TB, I can't tell who that is. That might be Chris. That looks like Will. And I think that might be Isaiah. Hard to tell. So, in theory, they're going to go here, go there, go here. And typically they would double him and go here. But they don't know if our nickel is going to be the 4th rusher. So he has to kind of step back and check the nickel because we've hit them a few times with that nickel pressure. So that tackle has to check to see if that 4th rusher is coming from this side of the field, which allows TB to get a one-on-one with the guard, and he just wins right there. Allows, like we said, quarterback can't step up into the pocket, floats the ball a little bit. Tez goes up and gets it, makes a really nice catch, and we get another sticker on the hammer. Right back there. There it go. Right there. All right, so now we're looking in the pass game again. So we'll definitely get some runs in here. There is a lot of runs. But this is what we're talking about with Tampa. So in this situation, he's our middle runner. This is a 2x2 formation. He's going vertical, and he's also going vertical. And what we said is this ball typically comes down facts. Tez equals ball player. That's no cap. He's our backside poach player. So what we talked about with Reuben is we need to get depth as his backside poach player. And typically that ball comes down 18 to 22 yards. If the ball's on the other side, then it's going to bend over to the hash. Typically it's like in this area. So Tez does a really good job right here because that's where they're trying to throw the ball. You see 13 look back for the ball, and he's probably about 18 yards down the field. Ball's on 16, so that would be what, the 35? I don't know, somewhere right around here where the ball would come down. That's where the quarterback's looking, but this guy does a great job of getting his depth, flipping his hips back towards the quarterback because we're playing zone, but knowing where the weakness of the defense is because the middle runner is opening to speed. So he can't help him with this one. And Eli, our safety, has to get out to the vertical of 1 because this back can leak out. Mark is going to trigger on the back. All right, so Eli can't help him over 2. He is responsible now to be underneath 2 to make this ball go over the top to allow the safety to get back and make that play. And Tez has a really good understanding of Tampa and how we want to run it. And really, Dale is doing a great job as a middle runner. Checks pass. Oh, shoot, that guy's going vertical. I'm going vertical. So this is a very good clip of both of our linebackers, our middle runner in 45 up top, Dale, and Tez as our backside poach player. So, like we said, Tampa is a little bit airy, but you just got to know where the weaknesses are. And the big weakness is this part of the field right here. So you got to let this guy know, hey, if you get this vertical by 2, I need you to get depth. If 1 comes in, okay, then you can zone off because his rule is I'm staying on the inside shoulder of 1. So if this guy went underneath and he went vertical, well, that's his new 1. So then Tez can sit down. But Tez, as he opens up and sees both of these guys are vertical, then I'm going to stay underneath too. And he does a great job of that right there. That's a really good clip. And then we get a great pass rush. ELITE, once again, winning the one-on-one. Big time sack. I think he had 2 sacks in this game. 2 or maybe even 3. In the celly. We'll see the nice pass rush right here. So here's what we're saying. He's kicking out for Malcolm. It gives him a one-on-one. Here, they don't know if Bryce is coming, so he's going to go to this guy. They're either going to double him, or then he's going to kick back to the nose, just depending on what they get. See there, he kicks back to the nose. ELITE wins his one-on-one, because that's what you need in pass rush. And especially this guy, you need a selfless guy at nose, because he's going to get a lot of double teams to allow these guys to get one-on-ones. And ELITE proves that, shoot, he's a great pass rusher, interior pass rusher, from the 3 technique, from the 5 technique, from the nose. Gets his win right there. Sack. Another pass. What are we looking at here? All right, so now we're looking at with the I know. I hope the one, I don't think it is, but the one against Philly where he just gets the 2-hand scissors and matches the hand of Cookus, I think, was the quarterback, and gets a sack fumble. I don't think that one's on here. So we're playing palms right here, a form of quarters, and what our check is to 3 detached in palms is the corner is going to lock 1. So he's locked up. He's out of the picture. And then we're going to play palms on 2 and 3. And they're running indie seam, which is basically this right here. And he's going underneath. And he's going underneath. So the corner is going to drive 1. And how we want to handle this concept right here, the nickel's going to squeeze 2, but then he's going to come off on 3. And the safety is going to push to 3. So Tez is going to be right here. And then when he feels 2 go under, he's going to trigger on 2 and go hit 2. And then depending on what Reuben gets on the backside, he could maybe help, but he also could be gone if he gets some sort of route by the running back. But this is a really good job right there of Tez rerouting 3 to make him expand, because he knows that he's going to have a little bit of width. He should be a little bit tighter, but he's going to have some width to make that expand so it can't just go right over the top and catch the ball right here because Tarp's gone. This is a whole of the defense, the middle of the field. So Tez does a really good job of rerouting that guy and then coming back, seeing that guy 12 come underneath, and then getting the PBU. That's a really good rep right there of how we want that to look. Great rep. And then he almost gets a taunting call. Facts. There's a lot of good reps from a lot of these guys on tape. Will got they got him underneath. They got the chip. Those ones hurt in the rib cage right there. Right there. Those ones hurt. All right, here we get some runs. All right, so we're playing quarter, half here. It looks like we're playing quarters over here. Let's see. No, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. We're playing quarters up here and half over here. So in this picture, it really should be him in the fit. By rule, he's A gap and he's C gap, but they can't be wrong because they have him as an extra fitter and they have him as an extra fitter. As you can see, we talked about guys playing fast and knowing what their responsibility is. Before the ball even gets back to the quarterback, Reuben's already taking his step to the A gap. Like he's already on a beeline to that A gap. And the ball's not even in the quarterback's hand. The ball's right here. And Reuben's already going. Because he knows where his fit is. He ends up getting double teamed. But because he's getting double teamed, it allows somebody else to be unblocked. And that somebody else is Tez. Linebackers playing downhill helps out a lot because it gets the doubles off the D line because they want to block here, here to there, here to there, single block, maybe him up to there and leave this guy unblocked, most likely. Him playing downhill, they can't double here. I think he's probably wrong, in my opinion. He should probably go up for the next guy. But allows him to get off the block and him to be unblocked. Other part of that is ELITE playing tough and Boogie playing tough and TB getting in some penetration. But there we can see Reuben's first step is incredible. Like he's going at the same time as the O-linemen are. Like that. And that is something that you can't teach, in my opinion. That's just something that is natural. And then you see Tez, like we said, he technically is a C-gap player, but that is his gap by rule. But he's also thinking, I think I can go make this play in this gap before this running back can get outside. And he can. That's exactly what he does. So, like, by rule, Boogie and Tez are in the same gap. So we're not gapped out because Tez needs to be right here. But we don't want guys to be robots. We want guys to be football players. And that's guys making football plays. All right, so this is kind of what we talked about earlier too, of the nickel pressure, where they can't just always say that this guy is not pressuring. Here, he's our fourth rusher. We're playing cover 3. He's playing there. He's there. And he's playing curl flat off of 2. So our fourth rusher is coming from the opposite side of the field than it usually does. Here we get both of our linebackers playing downhill. The quarterback messes up, but I think regardless of what happens, we're still going to get home. We have 2 unblocked guys, really. Same thing here. Tez needs to keep going. He needs to go all the way right there and be in this gap. But at the same time, he can see that air and he thinks, I can make this tackle back here before this guy beats me across the field. It definitely helps that the quarterback goes the wrong way. But I think he probably still makes the play. And if not, Eli does. So here, you can see Reuben. He's trying to get to his A gap, but then he's like, oh, shoot. I see pullers. I'm going to fall back, and I'm going to force that back to Tez. Reuben ends up in the perfect position. That's his gap right there. Like we said, we just need Tez to be in this gap, but at the same time, he's already in this gap behind the line of scrimmage. So Tez knows where his fit is, but at the same time, he thinks, I can get there from the back door. If I can get there from the back door and make the play, then do that all the time. Like if you can get there, then do it. Here's another rep of Tampa in the run game. I think they had 13 rushes for 13 yards or 12 rushes for 12 yards or something like that in this game. 1 yard per carry was pretty nice. Here we can see Reuben getting downhill. So how this one is going to fit now, this is a little bit of a different front, but it's just going to fit like that. And really, it's kind of just like a 4-down shade front, where he would be like right there. It's really the same thing. We're just getting to it a little bit differently. And so now, once again, by rule, he has this gap all the way over there, and Tez is in that gap. But he's like, I can go make this play. I think because Boogie's getting penetration. Same thing with the head up nose. It's hard for them to double and then get up to there. It's hard for that guard to get all the way to capture your head up nose. So he has to cut back, and Reuben's sitting right there. Makes a great tackle. Once again, 4 verticals out of 2x2. Once again, we're playing Tampa. So like we said, this guy's got to get depth. Underneath here, 18 to 22 yards. I think he's a little short on this one, but Malcolm makes a great play to allow the quarterback not to throw it. Like we said, he needs to have a little bit more depth. Like we were talking about Tez on the other rep, being a little bit deeper. That's where he's looking for the ball. He's on the hash, and the ball was on the 48. So that's what? 5, 10, 15, 20 yards right there. So that's that window, 18 to 22 yards. Ends up the quarterback gets hit, but that's where that window is, right? That's where that window in Tampa is, right in here. 18 to 22 yards, 2 yards outside the hash. That's where they're trying to hit it. We end up getting the pick. This is rush and coverage working together. Malcolm over here, number 6, does a great job of, he's supposed to be contained rushing, but he feels that he can win inside, so he makes an inside move. Guard can't get back to help. Affects the throw. Can't follow through once again. That's the second time we've seen that on this tape. And our linebackers making the play. Reuben catches the ball. Tez caught the ball earlier. More turnovers. I think that was Reuben's first pick since high school, which is crazy. He can't catch. I think we're looking at Reuben again on this one. Just the incredible angle, the foot quickness, the recognition. I think we have somebody out here. So someone's got this gap, B gap. Corner. But Tez seeing that jet sweep, big play in NCAA. I feel like everybody be running the jet sweep. Reuben does a great job of matching the angle of the ball carrier, if you will. Johnny Dixon, shout out Buckeyes. He's a good player. And making the tackle. Boogie rallying down the line. But that's a good rep. We're gapped out. He's there. He's there. He's there. Olive's fighting to get back into this gap. Boogie's running down the line. He's technically in that gap, but he's just flown over the top. This is 1st and 10. Looks like pass. We're going to see this from the tight again. But we're watching right here. This is another thing that, in my opinion, you can't really coach. And as a linebacker in 2024, if you don't have to put hands on an offensive lineman to beat the block, then don't put hands on. Like, gone are the days of shock and shed where you're gonna engage and lock out and shed the offensive lineman. If you can beat that guy by finesse and by foot speed and quickness, then do that. Because watch what Reuben does right here. Just gives him a little dip, little juke move, makes a tackle. If he doesn't have to go put his hands on that guy, why put his hands on him? Be a better athlete. This guy is not as good of an athlete as this guy. And that's another reason why we like the tight front, because on most football teams in modern day, these are the athletic offensive linemen, the tackles. Because typically, when you're seeing a 4-down front, this guy's covered up and this guy's covered up. So that's why you see more athletic tackles, because they're not covered up. They can get into space easier on like zone reads and duos and stuff. When we're running odd front, we're not allowing these guys to get free range to the second level. We're putting their unathletic, their bigger body unathletic guys. We want those guys to be in space trying to block our linebackers instead of a tackle who's typically got more length and more athleticism, change of direction. So let's put their guys that don't want to be in space into space, because that's what the offense is trying to do to us. They want to make it a space game. Okay, well, we're going to counter and put your guys in space that you don't want in space. Just like that. Don't put your hands on them if you don't have to. Just give them a little juke. Make your tackle. That's just being a smart football player. Let's see what we got here. Another one with pullers. All right, so Reuben doesn't make the tackle here, but this rep is wild from the tight. Just watching his recognition of getting downhill, seeing that puller of 51. We're here, there. He's a C-gap player anyway. There, and then our corner's right here. So he's a C-gap player, but he sees that puller. So really right now, he would be here. But with that puller, he's going to go match the puller. And that's just an amazing recognition right there. He almost really overruns it. And credit to number 2, because that's a really good cut from number 2 right there. Facts. That's that film study. Matt said he knew from his stance he was pulling, because his weight and like what they used to say like in Little League and stuff like that is look at the knuckles, because if they're white like this, like they're putting a lot of pressure on them, then they're probably not pulling. They're probably gonna go forward if they're putting a bunch of pressure on their hands. But if they're light on the ground, like if their hands like this, then they're probably gonna pull, because they're gonna take their first step back. But that's like one of them film study things. Either his depth is a little bit farther back, his weight isn't as much on his hand, maybe his foot, because he's got to take that drop step. That comes from that film study. Like Matt said, you can tell he's not leaned forward. Both of these guys really, their butts are low, whereas this guy, his butt's higher because he's gonna go try to cut him off. Whereas 75 and 51, their weight's farther back. Like you can just kind of tell he's more lean forward. He's definitely lean forward. He's lean forward. These guys are kind of on a different back angle than the other guys, and especially 85. Like you can tell the difference between 85, how his hand is in the ground and how his stance is. He's going forward. His foot's a little bit farther back so he can open up and go. This guy takes a false step trying to pull. But that's a really good rep from Reuben right there, playing downhill. And then Tez is scraping over the top, and who's that? That's Vaughn coming downhill, scraping down the line, playing CBR, cutback, bootleg, reverse. So he can play all 3 of those. And then he sees the ball gets handed off, so he's going to scrape down the line, play the cutback, the ball cuts back, TFL. Oh, this one get on here twice? Oh, it's a different play. Oh, okay. I saw a draw up there and I thought it was the same play. So here we're looking at Tez probably playing downhill. Same thing. That's not his gap. He really should force that back to Reuben on the pull. I think someone's pulling 70. Same thing. You can see his hands are barely in the ground. He's already half pulling anyway. He's leaned forward, ready to go downhill and block somebody. 70's already pulling. He's jumping on the snap before the ball's even snapped, which happened every single play, but it's neither here nor there. Tez is a C-gap player. Really, he should force that, and he would scrape over the top. But Tez is going to beat the puller. He's like, he don't even see me. Let me just go make my play. And that's the thing. Like, I want it to be schemed out and ruled out correctly for sure. But I also want guys to be football players. All right, now here, Reuben could have had his pick earlier in the season. We're playing Tampa again. So he's our backside poach player. Here it's 3-by-1, so if we get an over, he wants to be underneath that one. Here they're running like just triple in up here, and this ends up going behind Reuben. If Reuben had, if he didn't have a cast on his hand for something, then he probably would have got a pick right here because that ball hits him in the face, but he had a big old club on his hand and he couldn't catch. However, this was the third down stop, and they ended up kicking a field goal, I think. You can see right here, he's got this big, huge brace on his hand. He could only barely move his fingers. But here, you just see him just playing QB's eyes. Tez lets this one go because he's the middle runner, so he's going to let 3 go across his face and sit here inside of where number 2 is. Same thing with Bryce. Bryce is letting 2 cross his face to be inside of 1 because our corner is outside of 1, so we still have the correct spacing. We have a receiver, a defender, a receiver, a defender, a receiver, a defender. So, like, it works just like Tampa, kind of. I mean, just like run fits. Like we said, Reuben, if he could catch, he'd have a pick 6. Unless Vito caught him. I mean, this guy can run. He's probably like a 4-4, 4-5 guy. He can run. But Tez would have probably, or not Tez, Reuben would have stiff-armed him and scored. We're looking at this guy right here. Ooh, no, we're looking at, yeah, I think we're looking at Tez. This is the strength over here, so the middle runner is going to go this way. They're running double China 7s. Or no, they're running China 7 all go. So, once again, we talk about this. He's our backside post player. He needs to get underneath this one. And there, he turns around and flips into him because I think he realizes he's not going to get there. I need to just go and commit to it to make this quarterback not be able to just throw this ball right here. And so the quarterback kind of has to wait a little bit. He has to hitch right there. Like, he wants to throw that right there. The ball's on the 21-yard line, so the ball will come down right here. That's where he wants to throw it, but he sees Tez, so he has to kind of hitch and allow him to pass across Tez, and that gives it just enough time to be an incompletion. I mean, it's a game of inches. So on 3rd and 10, this is a big play. We're up 9-0. They might have kicked a field goal. I'm not sure. But you can see he wants to throw it right now. Like, he wants to go right there and throw it off that first little. Doesn't want to hop. Get into his throw right now. He sees Tez turning to where he can't do that. Has to take that little hop. 1 hop, 2 hop. Now he throws it. Like we said, it's a little bit later than he wants to. And I mean, it's close. but it's incomplete. He wants to throw that ball on the hash. Has to. They tried to hit us a few times on this one. And credit to them. That's where they should be trying to hit us. Here we're getting a screen. This is a blitz, so Reuben's blitzing. Tez does a good job. He's got the back in man coverage. On a screen play. Getting a TFL for like 6 yards or something like that. And this is tough too, because if he doesn't make this tackle, we might be out of luck. Tarp might make that tackle, but he probably cuts back right there and has a lot of open grass. So we get the ball's on the 36. And we get a 8-yard TFL. Is that right? Something like that. 4-yard, 5-yard. Nonetheless, a good play of a guy knowing what his responsibility is, playing downhill, wrapping up, making a tackle. A lot of Tampa. A similar situation. Playing screen, recognizing screen, playing downhill. The other guy that does a really good job is ELITE, number 94, recognizing screen. If Tez isn't there, ELITE makes a tackle. But like we said, he's a backside poach player on this one. So it's 3-by-1. He really needs to be aware if this guy runs that bender, he's got to get underneath it. For whatever reason, he feels that, and it might have been because of film study, he sees the O-lineman, he's like, okay, I need to go trigger on that. And that's a great play. That's a really, really nice play. Splitting the guards, the center and the guard. Downhill, downhill, downhill. He's a C-gap player. We're going there, there, A to A, B-gap, C-gap. He's there, he's there. Playing downhill, making sure that back can't get outside. He makes him cut back. We got Reuben going downhill to the A gap, and Will gets cut, but we got two guys scraping down the line of scrimmage. Cut back, playing cut back, CBR, cut back bootleg reverse like we talked about earlier, making the play. Or we're looking at that downhill, 31 right there playing downhill. He knows his gap is a C gap. He sees run. They can't double team here because he's playing so far downhill. We're good to go. Same thing, playing downhill. On this one, Tez is in the incorrect gap. He's A to A. He's B gap. He's C gap. Same thing. Same call, same formation. Tez is wrong. Actually, no, he's not. He ends up swimming, so he's in the wrong gap. So Tez just makes him right. And he needs to play A to A. So Tez playing downhill. He would be a C-gap defender, but this guy reaches ELITE, which is going to happen. He's head up, so he should be able to reach him. He's just going to make it right. ELITE does a good job of swimming and then getting his fist into the back of the tackle to allow him to not let him get up to the second level, really knocks him down so Tez has a clear run through. So even though ELITE got reached, he does his job because he knocks that guy down to allow Tez to hit the run through. Earlier in the game, we had a fumble and a touchdown on this one. A lot of tight week 6. Another good one from Tez, just recognition, playing his new gap. Oh, they messed up. That's awesome. That's incredible. Tess does a good job right here, though, of getting over the top, making the play. All right, so now this is one of my least favorite series of plays because we got them to 4th and 1, and they fumbled. But they gave them forward progress, which was an awful call. But we would have given our offense a chance with like a minute left in the game, or 2 minutes or something like that. But here you can see guys playing downhill. Same thing. By rule, A gap, C gap. There, corners outside. He feels that he's going to get reached into the C gap, so he's just going to go and make that play. This is a great look. TG right here, he's playing really A to that A gap right there, so he's just playing straight downhill. Tez is playing downhill. Makes a big-time play. And Tarp, let's not forget about Tarp right there. That's a really big play from Tarp, too. Well, I mean, that's knockback on a tackle. That's a big-time tackle. This is number 11. I like him. I like CJ. I think he's a good back. I think he's a very underrated running back. He's got a lot of, what's the right word? A lot of, like, a versatile skill set. I think he's got speed. He's got some, like, a little bit of wiggle to him. He can hit you. He can run you over. I like him. I think he's a really good player. And 11, he won some of his reps, but on this one, Tez wins this rep. But I think he's a really good player. I'm a fan of his. I liked him. I like Reggie Corbin from Michigan. I think that those are similar type of backs. They're like, quote unquote, undersized, probably like 5'9", 200-ish in that range, maybe. But I think they have similar skill sets where they're probably quicker than fast, but at the same time can lower their shoulder and run you over. I like both of those guys. I thought they were good players. Playing downhill. Dale, I think this makes a really good play too. So, by rule, here, there, A gap, really C gap. Tez sees he gets reached. He's just going to make him right. He's in the A gap. We're gapped out. Running back has nowhere to go, really. And really, Tez needs to fit on the other side of that fullback to allow whoever that is, Bryce, to get in on the fit. But Dale makes a great play. Plays his gap, plays downhill. Leverages right there, that's a really good picture of Dale being the lower man, playing with his right arm free, puts his left arm to get extension, has his right arm free, is able to get off the block, wrap up, make the tackle for a TFL. That's a really good rep from Dale right there. Plays downhill, plays his gap, leverages. He's, a head and half an arm lower than 51, so obviously he's going to win even if he's given up 60, 70 pounds. He's leveraged. He's got a wide base, and that's a great rep. That's a great picture right there. Same thing here. This is not his gap, but he's gonna run through and make a play. Same thing. So this is tight nickel sting. So he's off the edge there. He's really slanting to there. he's here to there, in theory, but he's still gonna play there to B gap on run and contain on pass. But Dale does a really good job right here. He might even hit the A gap. Yeah, so he ends up hitting the A gap. He really needs to get there, and Tez needs to get there, but he's thinking, why would I run here when I can run here and make the tackle on the back? Because the back's at the hash right now. I'm 5 yards outside the hash. Let me just play downhill and go make that tackle and trip Boogie. That's a good play right there. That's a really good play from Dale. That's 2 nice plays in a row from Dale. Of playing downhill, same thing that Tez has done a few times, just seeing air and taking air and getting downhill. Because what they're trying to do is double up to him because they know that he has that gap. But another beauty of the odd front is this guy has to go a really far away to get that double. If he was right here, then he would just step right there and he probably wouldn't hit that A gap. But he has to take a really big bucket step and get a lot of distance to get all the way from here to over there to get to block a leve. Oops. It allows him to it allows Dale to hit that run through. I think we're playing cover 3 here. I know it says tight week 6, but that's not right. This game got messed up. Same thing, both of these guys on the run through. 31 and 45, both unblocked. I'm not sure why they didn't block either of them, but they're trying to double here. He backdoors it, makes a tackle. If you backdoor and you're right, hey, you're right. All right. 4th and 1. 4th and 1. To seal the game. They just run an inside zone. We get a great run through. We get great penetration from Chris right here, Okoye. We checked wide, so he's there, there, here, there, and there. Tez runs through, plays downhill. They can't double. He can't get off quick enough to block him. Chris gets so much knockback that he has to come off on this guy. Will does a good job. This was such a beautiful rep. We got the stop on 4th down to seal the game. It was awesome. This was hype. In Ford Field. This was another game where they had 1 rushing yard to carry. I think Philly had 12 for 12 and Michigan had like 13 for 13 or something like that. It's great. On 4th and 1, that was awesome. I think we're getting a forced fumble right here from Tez. They're just running like double slant up top. That's the correct read from the quarterback. Don't throw the inside slant, throw the outside slant, especially in NCAA, because if you throw the inside slant, even if it looks open, you're going to throw a pick because this guy's going to jump it. So you throw the outside slant when you're running double slants. But we get a nice hit, force the fumble, picked it up. They call him down by contact. He was, but not a turnover. Big hit. Corner's there where he needs to be. I think that's Mark. Yeah, get the turnover. Here they're trying to do a zone read. And they're trying to, instead of read this guy, they're trying to block out, down, and I think go up and read this guy. So here it ends up just being a gap exchange where he goes down there to take the dive and he takes the quarterback. This guy was pretty good athlete. I think he got hurt this year. I think he was their starter and got hurt. But he got hit. If you're going to run as a quarterback, you're going to get hit. So they're just, he's taking the dive and he's taking the quarterback. It's just like a gap exchange between those two. Another one where we're playing downhill. Same thing here. Tez by rule needs to force this and play outside of it to allow him to scrape over the top. But at the same time, don't just get blocked to get blocked. Go make your play. If you can undercut it and you don't need to force that because you think you can go make the play, go make the play. But if you're wrong, then you're wrong. You got to be right. He was right. I think we get another pick here because Reuben's depth. We're playing, maybe not. This might be a different one. Oh, no, this is a tip. Tez had 2 picks in this game. Someone gets pressure up front. Who is that? Will Miles gets the, he wins his one-on-one, knocks the guy back, gets the tip. They're fighting over the ball. Tez high pointed it. Another sticker on the hammer. I don't know who had the most stickers on the hammer. Probably Tez, maybe Mark. Mark had what, 4 picks? Probably Tez or Mark, 1 and 2. Ooh, that's a nice picture too. You can see all really 3 of these guys reacting to the run. That's a nice picture. All 3 of those guys simultaneously. I like that picture. Knock back. I liked our away uniforms a lot better than our home uniforms too. But they all 3 recognize it right there. Both linebackers and our safety, Bryce. Great playing downhill. Knockback. Who's that on the right end? Nas. Alive, good job. Knockback. We'll take that. I think we're going to see a good fit from Dale here. Of the run through. Playing downhill. There, really there, and there. The gap ends up coming to Tez. And really now, Boogie got reached. Does a good job of allowing Dale to run through. He holds this guy a little bit and not let that guy be able to climb up. Dale can run through, make the tackle. It's a good rep by Boogie, and it's a great rep by Dale. Third and 1. Ball's on the 9. We definitely forced a field goal here. They didn't score here. And we're getting lined up late, too. Boogie needs a UFL opportunity. 1,000% facts. Joshua Gaming, YouTube. I don't know who you are, but you speaking the truth. Boogie needs a UFL opportunity. Reuben playing downhill right there. That's that 99 hit power. Knock the running back. Third down stop. See what we got here. Okay, this one. This is where Reuben. This is. Oh, okay, yeah. He's going to get his depth, and I think we get a pick on this one. And this happens because we get. What we're doing here, this is just like a form of cover 3. He's playing the middle of the field. They're playing a third. They're playing a third. They're playing curl flat, hook curl, hook curl. I went to the Stars Maulers game in Canton last year. Crazy high scoring. Yeah, that game was like my least favorite game of the year. That was our worst game on defense by far. We played so bad. I mean, yeah, we played bad. And we let up like 2 or 3 big plays, which was something that we didn't do in most games. And yeah, that I didn't like that game. It was a really late game too. It was like a 7 or 8 o'clock kick. I didn't like that game. So here, Reuben's getting enough depth. I think he might just get a little bit on the ball, but he gets great depth to allow us to get a pick on 3rd and 10 in the early in the game. I think we had 4 picks in this game or something like that. Tez already had 2. I think Keith also had 1, I want to say. Yeah, he did. And the reason that he said Corey Coleman got a 50-yard touchdown down the sideline because we were pressed and he grabbed the corner and shocked and shed him and threw him to the ground, and they didn't call a penalty. Like, it should have been a penalty, but it wasn't, so be it. Let's see if Reuben gets anything on this one. Hard to tell. I think he gets just a little bit on it. And also the receiver is getting a little scared because he sees Bryce coming downhill. So we get the pick. Reuben does a great job right there. That's another big thing. When you get a pick, you have to block the intended receiver. I know that guy's not the intended receiver, but he's the next closest guy. You got to get a block. Hype. That's a dope picture. Guys running off the sideline. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, here's the turnover. This is a touchdown. Reuben forces it, and Tez recovers it. Same thing. By rule, he's a C-gap player and he's an A-gap player. But I think we get cut out, so he plays the B-gap. He makes it right. Reuben really ends up making the play. He's in his A-gap right there. And this is a great job by Tarp of fitting where needed. Because by rule, Tarp would fit off of him. So either here or here. But he gets cut out, so he just makes it right. But Reuben sticks his left hand in there and gets the ball out right there. Forces the fumble, hits off 77's big foot. Tez picks it up for the touchdown. Here Tez goes, and he makes his correct fit. He's forcing it back, but he's also going to make the tackle because you want to force by making the ball cut up or making the tackle. And he makes the tackle. And Nas almost takes out Reuben. Does take him out. This is nice from Tez right here. Good footwork. Seeing the poles, because right now we're saying new center. He's a C-gap player. He's an A-gap player right there. Seeing the poles, because he would be downhill. See that pole, go over the top. He's falling back. and making a tackle. That's a really nice play from Tez. He doesn't make the tackle, but he does his job. And then we got guys running to the ball. Or he does make the tackle. Gets up and makes the tackle. And he takes him out. Oh, my. Here we got Dale. As this ends up, he's there. He's really here. Our corner should be right there. There. He's an A-gap here. Here. And he needs to go out there. Oh, never mind. We spun it. So Dale is here to now with the pull there. Just like that. He doesn't make the tackle, but he makes him cut back to get the tackle. So, like, not a tackle on the stat sheet, but a win on defense. On this one, Reuben just has a second sense and knows what's happening first, like, somehow. We're wrong here. I think he should be right here. But as it looks, he's an A-gap. He's an A-gap, B-gap, B-gap here and here. And Reuben, I don't know. I don't know why. Oh, I know why. So when we were playing this team, this is 3-by-1. And when they were in pistol, when the back was behind the quarterback, it was a big, big, big stretch alert. Like, a big run alert and stretch alert. So, like, I don't know what the percentage was off the top of my head, but it was a lot higher than what it was anywhere else on the field. So I think either I'm yelling into his ear, well, not yelling, but talking over the headset into his ear because he had a headset. I'm either yelling run or he just remembers that pistol means run. So that's why he's playing downhill like that and makes a tackle. Elite linebacker play. And that's the end of the cutup. But I mean, shoot, that's a lot of clips of guys doing a really good job of not necessarily always playing in the gap that they're assigned, but understanding football and understanding where they need to fit based on what the offense is trying to do, and making plays. Like we said, we don't want guys that are robots. We want guys that know what they're doing and know where their fit is and know what their gap is and know their responsibility. But we don't want guys that are just going to run straight into a gap and overrun the ball or run behind the ball. We want guys that are going to be football players and make plays. And I believe we had the best linebacker core in the league. I know for a fact we had the best defense in the league. And I guess I can statistically prove that. I can't statistically prove the best linebacker core. But I know looking at it that we had the best linebacker core. And I mean, shoot, the tape shows itself. Those guys were making a lot of plays. But I think that we're going to end this stream right about here. Potentially get an NCAA stream tomorrow. Maybe tonight get an NCAA stream. But other than that, I think we'll call it. And I appreciate you guys for being here, watching the stream, either live or on the VOD after the fact or on YouTube. You can reach me on Twitter if you have any questions, or if you want to see a certain thing, you can reach me on Twitter. You can type a chat in the chat, whatever. But other than that, I appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the time to be here. And we'll catch you either tomorrow in the NCAA stream or on Thursday for whatever we decide we're going to watch next in the film. Maybe we'll look at some elite DB play because we had a lot of that. Maybe we'll show the D line some love. I'm not really sure what we're gonna do yet, but we'll see you then. Appreciate it.